I'd like to thank you all so much for your generosity on behalf of the congregation and on behalf of the Transgender Resource Center of New Mexico, who's our quarterly recipient of the change. Thank you very much. And now, our third tale. Our third earth tale is from India, and it's called Amrita's Tree. Amrita leaned back against her favorite tree and rested. There was nowhere in the world she liked better. The green cover of the forest grove was nice and cool, especially after being out in the hot desert sun. Sometimes she talked to her tree, sharing her daydreams and her secrets, and sometimes she just sat beneath it in peaceful silence. Well, today, as she sat taking in the sounds of the forest, suddenly the sounds changed. The birds all took flight, cawing loudly as they flew up and away. A rabbit darted past her and disappeared into the brush. Amrita was on her feet in an instant, alert. As she wandered toward the source of the sounds that had sent the birds away, she stopped suddenly when she caught sight of the men. They were carrying axes. "Cut down every tree you can," she heard the chief woodcutter say. "The Maharaja needs plenty of wood to build his palace." Amrita froze. They couldn't cut down her forest. Where would she go to escape the desert sun? And her tree. The thought of someone cutting her tree down was just too much to bear. Fast as she could, Amrita ran back to the village. She ran straight to her mother. "Mom," she yelled, "there are men with axes in the forest, and they are going to cut down the trees." Amrita's mother immediately set down the water pot she had been carrying. "We cannot let that happen," she said. Amrita and her mother quickly gathered the women and children of the village, and off they went back to the forest. They arrived to find the woodcutters sharpening their axes. Amrita's mother approached them politely. "Namaste," she said. "We do not want trouble, but we cannot let you cut down those trees. Their roots hold the soil together. Without them, our fields and homes will be washed away in a mudslide when the monsoon rains come." The chief woodcutter was unmoved. "You don't own these trees, and we have orders from the Maharaja. Now, excuse us." And with that, he nodded to one of his men who began chopping into an ancient Kajari tree. With every swing, the axe bit deeper into the trunk, and in a matter of moments, the giant tree came crashing down. "No," Amrita cried. "Little girl, get out of the way," said the woodcutter as he moved towards Amrita's tree, her special tree. "No," she yelled again. "I won't let you cut this tree down." She ran to the tree and she threw her arms around it, hugging it as tightly as she possibly could. "If you want to cut it down, you will have to cut through me." "Swing your axe," commanded the chief woodcutter. But the woodcutter could not do it. He would not do it. "I can't," he said, and he dropped his axe to the ground. Amrita looked around. To her surprise, all of the women and children were hugging trees. The woodcutters were stunned. They didn't know what to do. They all gathered together and whispered. And then, without a word, they took their axes and left the forest. Once the men were gone, Amrita rushed to her mother. "Amrita, what were you thinking?" her mother said. "How dangerous, and I'm afraid it will all be for nothing. Those men are certain to tell the Maharaja about this." And sure enough, the next day, the Maharaja himself appeared in the village. "Where is the little girl who put herself in harm's way to save a tree?" "Here I am," said Amrita. "I did what I had to do to save that tree, and I would do it again." "That won't be necessary," said the Maharaja. "I am here to present you and the women of your village with this royal decree. In honor of your courage and wisdom, I promise that no tree in this forest shall ever be cut down. And hundreds of years later, Amrita's courage has inspired many people to join together to protect forests. Thousands of trees have been saved, and in one sacred grove in India, Amrita's tree still grows.